Sharon Neshat's photograph shows a seated woman wearing a black chador, the prescribed garment worn by Iranian women in public. The image is closely cropped to focus on her inscribed hands, which open like a book, and her forearms, which cradle a rifle. Neshat left Iran as a student in 1974 before the Iranian Revolution that deposed the Shah in 1979. Neshat was fascinated by the women who volunteered to serve as soldiers during the revolution. These women fought for a cause they knew would restrict their freedom once a new Islamic republic was established. Right-hand inscription translation. The earth was shaking, the palm trees were shaking, the silk tree, feeling dizzy, was moving its branches and its leaves, and it was going to tilt on Majamal. The people were standing, feeling confused while listening to the strange sound of. Left-hand inscription translation. The women were drumming. Mandane was singing, facing the skies. She was moving her hands as she danced. None of the men in this village knew her. The more the women kept beating their drums, the darker and uglier the field was. The photographer of this photograph is authentic because she was born in Iranian culture. She was born in 1952 and left Iran in 1974, right before the Iranian Revolution. There is also authentic language written on the hands in the picture, which also makes this photograph authentic. The black chador in the picture represents the robe worn by Iranian women in public. The hands represent a book and the forearms represent a rifle, which makes this picture authentic because both of these symbolize items from the war.
Tomoko Sawada, born in Japan in 1977. Her portrait is called ID 400. An ID picture proves the identity or the existence of a person in the picture. Even if someone does not exist in this world, if she appears in an ID picture, that person can prove her existence. One's personality is said to show in one's appearance. However, even if appearance changes, the essence does not. This contradiction motivates me. Anyone in these ID pictures could be me, Tomoko Sawada. For her series ID 400, Tomoko Sawada took dozens of black and white photo booth images to create a grid of self-portraits. She used a similar process with color prints for the series Recruit. By using herself as a model and constantly altering her appearance through hair, makeup, and costume changes, Sawada suggests a range of Japanese female types: schoolgirls, job recruits, teenagers, brides-to-be. Ultimately, Sawada uses self-portrait to question the relationship between interpersonality and cultural expectations that shape our appearance. This portrait is authentic because she was born in Japan. It is also authentic because she uses herself as the poser, showing the different types of people there are. Lastly, she relates to Japan because everyone has an ID and it shows the typical girls there.
Dieter Appelt, German, born 1935, the mark on the mirror breathing makes. Born in Germany in 1935, Dieter Appelt endured the devastation of World War II and came of age in the following years. A period of profound collective guilt and slow cultural and political rebirth. A sculptor who has made regular use of the camera, Appelt's work is rooted in ideas of the primal, death, rebirth, memory, solitude, and both the frailty and resilience of the human body. There is a sense of ritual and atonement in much of his work, as Appelt plays the role of myth maker or shaman. This work is from a famous 1977 series, A Meditation on the Ephemerality. A meditation on the ephemerality of images, life, and breath. Dieter was born in 1935 in Germany. He endured World War II. He depicts his experiences and ideas, displaying thoughts of death, rebirth, memory, solitude, frailty, and resilience. He depicts meditation and emotions experienced from that time.
Pierre-Louis Pierson, French, 1822 to 1913, Countess de Castillon. The Countess de Castillon was one of the most glamorous and notorious figures of 19th century Paris. Born in Tuscany, Italy, the Countess was sent to Paris in 1856 to plead the case for Italian independence. While there, she briefly became a mistress to the French Emperor Napoleon III. The Countess was acutely aware of the power of images and collaborated with the Mayer and Pearson studio in Paris from 1856 to 1895 to make more than 400 portraits of herself in various costumes and roles. The Countess has been the subject of numerous biographies and the 1955 film La Castiglione starring Yvonne De Carlo.
This photograph is authentic because the photographer was sent to Paris in 1856, where she became a mistress of Napoleon III. This means that she was exposed to French culture. This photograph shows herself and two other people, and she used to take pictures of herself in different French costumes, which represents the French culture of that time period.
Our big question we want to ask is why. Our big question we want to ask is why do you think the museum feels a need to write the culture that the artist grew up in?
I think that you need to write that because it's important for the viewer to decide for themselves whether the photograph is authentic or not, because you want to be aware of whether or not it's an accurate representation of the culture or of the person. So it's always nice to know not only where they were born, but also where they came from and where they grew up.
And also to show people different cultures and see how the actual authenticity of culture is not just typical stereotypes that you see.